I was looking into is Justice Haynes. Have you heard about him? What's your thoughts on him? It's pretty exciting. I've got a quick clip or a little verbiage from what he said, but I want to get your take on him first, and then we'll go into that a little bit more.
Yeah, Justice Haynes, man, he comes out of the state of Georgia, man. And if you look at his high school stats, I mean, this kid's almost rushed 6,000 yards for his career. I mean, he still hasn't played his senior year yet, averaging 9 rushing yards, averages 163 yards per game, 72 touchdowns for the year so far. I mean, this is a guy that's the world beat. I mean, he's an elite running back for a reason. I mean, you got literally, like I said, if you go down the list, you go to the top 10 running backs, 5 of those guys are in the state of Florida. I think number 11 is in the state of Florida, so that would be 5. But there's no excuse for Florida not to be able to land a running back, especially in the state of Florida. Now, I know he's from Georgia, and he did have a good visit, and I did hear good things about his visit. But, when you look at Richard Young, looks like he's going to be an Alabama lean. I mean, you had Cedric Baxter. He came out of his Alabama visit, too, saying it was great. And I don't even know if Alabama's going to take 2 running backs this cycle. But if they do, you got Treyuan Webb there. He's a guy that obviously loves Florida, but he said he wants to wait and make sure he makes the right decision, so we don't never know when he's going to commit. But as far as Justice Haynes, man, I mean, yeah, he's a guy out of Georgia, Roswell, 10 miles down the street from where I live. Even if he does commit to Florida, then I can get a good interview. All I have to do is drive down the street.
That's true. Yeah, so you're right. There's 5 from Florida that are in the top 10 currently. Treyuan Webb, to me, like you said, feels like a great shoe-in for Florida. Right now, and 247, we got him 94 to Florida, 6% to Oklahoma. Right now, with Justice Haynes, is 100%. Part of that is his dad went to Georgia. So that one's going to be a tough pull, a tough steal for us.
Oh, yeah.
But this was something he said after his visit. He said, I'd be lying if I didn't say that right now. As a whole, the recruiting goes, Florida did the best thus far from the standpoint of courting Justice, the athlete, and courting Justice, the person. It was really impressive visit. Definitely one of the most impressive visits I've had ever. They showed love as soon as I got there. The whole army of staff was down there. The players also knew me. I met Trey Dean and Chief Borders. So that speaks volumes from a kid that's, again, Georgia homegrown, right? From Wheatal. For him to come out and say those things. And again, a lot of guys are coming out and saying something special is going on in Florida. Something special is cooking up in Florida. Now, could it just be a bunch of talk? Sure. But at least it's talk. One, but for him to come out and say that is very powerful and impactful. And if we could get that steal, I mean, that would be a good comeback after Georgia winning the Natty last year for us to kind of take that from them. But again, with Treyuan, that's gonna be tough. I would say if we get, I don't think we get both. Right, it's gonna be one or the other. I don't think both guys are gonna want to share the room. So that would be my only take on that. And Treyuan seems to be heavy Gator more than the rest of them.
Yeah, well, all you really needed is one out of this class anyway. I mean, as I said, the running back stable we got. I mean, there's guys with eligibility. Bowman's got 3 years of eligibility. You've got, the freshman ETN. He's back there as well.
Trevor.
The Louisiana Lafayette transfer.
Montrell Johnson. Yeah, he's a sophomore. So there's a lot of depth.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth at running back. So if you just take one, you take one running back. Say you don't even get Justice Haynes. Maybe you get Webb or you get one of those other guys. You're still in a pretty good position at running back for this year. So, you go into next year, you can probably say, okay, well, maybe we didn't get a couple of the guys that we got, but we got one guy, and then we can go into the next year. And then also, as you said, or you referred to his visit, a lot of those kids, when they've seen Napier, and I've discussed this with Jen, a lot of those people from the collective, because they, a lot of the parents do call the collective because they want to know what it's about. Obviously, their kid's going to visit the school, so they want to know what's about. So she kind of gets to learn a little bit about these kids, and so does Eddie and some of those other people out there. They rant and rave about Billy Napier. And the biggest thing that I've heard from a lot of those kids is he's not fake. He doesn't come off as fake. He's a very, well-spoken man, family man, really trustworthy, a guy that, isn't going to lie to you on your visit, and he's going to be very straightforward and honest. And I think that's why a lot of kids, obviously, with Nick Saban's success, they like him for that too. But I think a lot of kids are drawn to Nick Saban because he's kind of the same way. He's straightforward. He's not going to beat around the bush. We've seen him interviewed 1,000 times. He's not going to beat around the bush about something. He's going to be straightforward and honest, but he's going to make you successful. And that's what Billy Napier strives to do with anybody that comes to the University of Florida. Could you look at Dan Mullen and say, oh, yeah, he's being honest with me?
No, we talk about that all the time. Of that, he was a cheese ball, is how as I like to call him. It felt very ingenuine. It felt like we talked about it, like his recruiting style. It, to me, felt as if look, you get to play at UF. You should be thankful. Versus like, we're happy to have you here. It's exciting. Like, look, we're gonna do great things together. I'm gonna do my best for you. Dan Mellon never gave me those feelings. Even during his interviews, they just felt very cheesy and very on the surface, very textbook.